Hello, hello. I have here yet another LEGO Juniors series, Jurassic World, set for 2018. This one's called Pteranodon Escape, and like the others, it's for kids as young as 4. If you think you've seen this exact Pteranodon before, or this exact color scheme for one, you are right. If you think this is a brand new Pteranodon or a brand new color scheme for one, you are wrong. This is indeed a re-release of the 2015 Pteranodon from the original Jurassic World movie. Still looks just as good to me. I think the color scheme with the dark bluish gray and the dark red dual molded together looks pretty good and looks interesting to me, and has a pretty good print on that headpiece, which is not dual molded, just has the paint applied onto it. They do a nice job of packing this up where the lower beak and also the head are very carefully packed in their own box within the major box, so you get no damage there, you get no little bending and everything. This just has the same amount of mobility as all of them have that use this same mold set. So you can bring the wings all the way up, you can bring the wings almost all the way down, and then the beak opens by the top of the head swiveling up and down. So unfortunately you cannot get the head to angle down on this, but that is just what it is. A couple anti-studs on the base there, and a couple of clips for feet, so you can connect it to some other things. You can also put a rider on the back if you want to be fanciful about it. The helicopter uses a Junior's so-called quick start chassis. The light gray is basically all one piece, so you don't have to assemble the major portion of the body. You just add stuff onto it for a little bit of detail, and you also add the skids. The skids are dark blue here. That looks pretty good. That's a print, not a sticker on the side, and you get another Jurassic World logo on the other side as well, just identical with the 2x2 tiles. They give you one clip on the outside to hold on to a minifig accessory. I put the walkie-talkie radio there, and this has an opening canopy, of course, a small printed console piece. Sorry, I'm kind of shadowing that there, but you can see that there's a print on that, and the rotor. So the rotor blades are really, really short, like comically short. They spin, that's good, but they're just so short. I wish they had made those just a little bit longer. It's easy to make them longer, use longer pieces or something, but we can at least easily bring that out a couple more studs, I think, without doing any other modifications, but it is what it is. I think that's the worst thing about the entire set, is just how short these are. Of course, you could, if you want to, build this just a little differently. Put a couple of these at the ends, turn it into a 2-blade rotor set, and that looks much, much better to me personally. So I recommend doing that because it just looks cooler. You also get a little bit more momentum where it'll spin a little bit longer. The rear hatch, interestingly, opens up, and there's space in there. You can put something in there. It's not a particularly good amount of space, but you can put a figure in there leaning back, or if you put their head in first, they can be sitting down. So a little bit of cargo can be carried, and you can also drape someone from this line coming out here. You can attach minifig hands to any of these wider spots. They're bar size, and then they also have the stud at the end. You can go to the top of a brick or the bottom of a brick from that, so they give you some options for connecting things and trying to think of other play possibilities with this. The smallest build is this little monitoring station, so just a little outpost, and they give you a very nice print on that 2x4 tile there, showing you that you've got a problem. You've got a volcano that's going off and pteranodons are trying to fly away from it. And they also have that little printed console piece on the side that you can just use imaginatively. You can imagine that to do any kind of thing, to be a control for the screen, or possibly to turn on an alarm, send out an alert. Definitely, different things can be done with that from an imaginative perspective. And they have just one little piece of foliage off to one side, and this represents an antenna for communication. So there's definitely the idea that this is a small remote outpost, kind of like what they depict there in the picture, and you need to do your job. You need to call in support or help or something. Also built in this set is the most basic representation of a volcano that's going off. So you can kind of just see this as being a little bit of the side of a mountain, or you can imagine it being way off in the background, where it's just really, really scaled down. It's a very simple build. You can see that very clearly. But, it's just trying to give you a little bit of setting. More importantly, they give you these kind of lava blobs that you can see them as. So these look pretty cool, and unfortunately you can't really throw them and make them blow up easily unless you put them together very gingerly, very carefully. Just barely put the top and bottom together, just barely. I think a lot of kids won't have the patience to do that, but then if you throw it, see that even that is together just too much. The idea is that if you put it together poorly enough, then it'll kind of look like it's together, but when it hits the ground, it'll break open, and then you've got these little cones inside, little fire ember cones, and each of these has 3 of them in there. Or you could just use these some other way to represent a lava flow. Put them onto this build back here, or just kind of have a stream of them. Use these, turn the bottom upside down, do like so, and then just imagine having to navigate around that with one of your other sets, or just with a figure, who may need to be trying to get away from this. Leave a little path for a figure to just barely squeeze through, stuff like that. It's, like I said, just good fuel for imagination. And then here's a closer look at the 2 figures. So the one on the left right now is set up to be the helicopter pilot, and the one on the right is a tracker with a tranquilizer dart gun there. But if you want the guy to be the pilot, then just switch his cap with her helmet and you're done. They use the exact same torsos, which I think is perfectly fine. I think those torso pieces actually look pretty good, and I just need to get this walkie-talkie out of the way so I can turn this around. There we go. And there you can see the Jurassic World logos on the back, and this one also has an alternate face, which is a little bit worried. Maybe she's worried for the guy if she's trying to rescue him and she's seeing the lava starting to come in. And I do want to show you her normal face, or the other face with the helmet removed, so you can see that expression a little bit more clearly. This is, I think, a pretty good medium-small juniors set. It doesn't have a whole lot of stuff in it, but everything in it is useful, and like I said, I just think it doesn't restrict you to one particular play scenario. It provides things for kids to play with, and they can come up with their own ideas. Use a little bit of, or take a little bit of inspiration from what you see on the box, or don't. But the helicopter is perfectly fine. I do recommend going 2-blade rotor rather than 4-blade. Make those longer. Looks so much better. This is really basic, but I'm okay with it. Really nice prints all the way through, and everything just works pretty well. I'm really glad that they included the rope line there to drop a person down or to pick them up. You can do rescues. You can imagine that the Pteranodon is injured. You need to pick it up and actually help it. Maybe it's one of its wings got burnt and needs to be healed up, so you need to actually tow it to safety or something. There's just a lot that you can do with this, and I didn't even call out the fact that that little bar piece there has the holes on the top, so you can attach some accessories to that. Yeah, good stuff. Opening a hatch and closing hatch helps you to hold things inside without attaching them to the base of the interior of the helicopter. A lot of times when kids are playing, they want to just put something in and not worry about setting it perfectly. So you can just throw a figure in the back, in a seated position, just close up the back, and there you go. You're able to carry them along. So yeah, just really well designed, in my opinion, for the target age range. Good stuff. I'm happy with it. And that's it for my review video. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you again as soon as I can.